Hey there Stampers, and welcome to another Step It Up video. Today we are going to be making this cute little card. This one, it's pretty easy. I'm going to go through the steps mainly for number 2 because 3 is adding just a few little different details and different layers, so it should be easy enough to complete. So this is step 1, this is step 2, and this is step 3. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm using Sahara Sand as the card base, and it is the standard card base, the 8.5 by 5.5, folded at 4 1/4 to make the standard card base. Sometimes I use different size cards, but most of the time I use the standard A2 because it's easy to keep envelopes on hand. We are using 2 different stamp sets. We're going to use Elements of Style, and we're going to be using the rose, and we're using Sense of Time, and we're using the big clock. I have a hard time using this one. I really like it, and I like the sentiments in it, but I can't figure out quite how to use it and what to send the cards for. But I think this would be a great missing you type card, you know, when you're coming back, you've been missed or whatever. So at least that's what I'm going to use it for. So we start with the standard card base. For the clock face, I'm using Sahara Sand ink, and it's really simple. I stamp off, no need to recut when you already have a paper edge. I try to include enough of the clock so that you can see and know that it is a clock. So I just use the edge that's already there and try to position. You can always cut more if you don't like the way it looks, and you want the center bit too included. So make sure you have good contact. And then all we're going to do is fussy cut the clock out. If you decide that this is too much of the clock, it's very easy just to chop a little bit off of the bottom or the side. This one, it looks like I didn't go in as far as I did on the others, but it'll give you the idea. And for each step card, I did the same thing. I stamped and then just did a fussy cut. I didn't leave any white showing on the clock because it's going on directly onto white. So I wanted the Sahara Sand edge to be seen, and I think on a couple of these, I actually took the Sahara Sand marker and just kind of darkened it. You can use your ink pad, but if you have the marker, the fat edge of the marker is easier to do this with. But since this is what I have, I'll just do it like that. And it just darkens it. It's probably not terribly noticeable, but I like it. Let's see, I need that marker too. So then you're just going to take Whisper White and the Elements of Style, and what I did, I know you guys have seen me do this before, is I took the fat edge and I colored the roses in the Daffodil Delight, and then I used Sahara Sand on the stems and Pear Pizzazz on the leaves. The roses are pretty easy to see on the edges. It's when I get into the center. Sometimes I act like I'm just stamping for myself and there's not a camera up there. And I know a couple of times I've done it off where the camera can't see it. So I'm trying to be more aware. And we'll put these. So I usually start out from the edge in, because like I said, this portion I really have to put my glasses on and figure out what's a rose and what's a leaf. But that's really the hardest, which isn't very hard, but that's the hardest part of doing this individual coloring. But I think it adds a lot for not a lot of work. I mean, it's still just coloring with a marker. So you go in there, and even these little buds can get colored. This is where I usually have trouble, right in here, because the leaves and the blossoms kind of look the same. I think that's pretty good. Okay, so then I take the Pear Pizzazz for the leaves, always still using the larger end of the marker, and I just go in and color them. Leaving the stem portions though, and I'm just going to go back in and touch. I always forget this little blossom right here, but it's going to be green because just in the interest of time and keeping the video, but I would normally go back and do that in yellow. So that little tiny bud right there, you can see it right there, is actually the correct color. Sorry, this has taken more time than I really wanted to spend on this portion because there's so much layering I want to show you. Anyway, so then I'll go back and just do stems. You can see it probably wasn't a stem, but it won't matter if it's perfect. It's just to tie the three colors we're using all together and make sure it's a subtle little detail, and I know it probably doesn't matter for a lot of people, but I think it adds a lot to it. But that's just me. So anyway, okay, there we go. You're going to huff on this. And make sure that you have the majority of it in this portion of your cardstock, because that's what we'll be seeing. Put it down and give it a good contact with the paper, and there you go. That looks pretty good. And then you're going to take your clock, and I probably would cut off. It looks like the 4, and if you get the whole 11, that's a good portion on there, which I didn't. You're going to adhere that down. You're going to layer it onto Pear Pizzazz cardstock, and then onto Daffodil Delight. And I wanted a larger border on this one. And then in between the Daffodil Delight and the pear, I used the Daffodil Delight taffeta ribbon. And I think on this one I just did a little strip there, and tied a bow separately and put a glue dot down. And that is your level. You layer it onto the card base, and that's your level 1 card. Here's step 1. Step 2 is very similar, except when I did the coloring exactly the same. I went back and I cleaned my stamp. You probably didn't even notice this detail. I did a little Stampin' Mist and cleaned the stamp. I love the way this Stampin' Mist smells. It's all very clean. So you clean it off, and then I went back in with Sahara Sand and just did a few to fill in. Just did a few little stamps. I inked up the whole stamp and then just stamped, one part on one, and then inked it again. And so wherever you like it, kind of like Bob Ross style, happy little flowers going in there. Easy, and then just fill in this lower detail right here with whatever part of that stamp that you like. And I think I'm going to go this way and fill it in, because the clock will cover the rest. So easy, and it's just a nice little extra detail, another layer to add. So the step 2 card is the image with the clock, and I added an antique brad. This was the last of this particular style that I have. I did it on both. But when I went back to pull it, I think the white would look really good too. I liked this one because it has a little yellow and it echoes back to the daffodil, but the white would look just as great. I think either one of these is perfect for this card. So you're going to put a hole in and add your antique brad. This time it was layered on daffodil and then a very thin pear pizzazz, and I sewed a little detail onto these 2 layers. Then I added the image with the bread and in between them I added the Daffodil Delight taffeta ribbon with the little bow. Then I added a white, Whisper White mat, a larger one so you could really see the detail, and put it onto the card base, and that is your step 2. I'll give all the dimensions on the video itself. But you can see it's pretty easy, and I think it's so pretty. It's very feminine. It would be great for Mother's Day too. All the time moms put in. So step 3 is the same layering except on the image. I cut down the image and the clock, same detail here, and I added a pear and Sahara sand. This is the only card I did the Sahara sand on. And then layered it. And this time, because I'm using more pear, I used the poly twill. Is it poly stitched? Anyway, I don't use this very much. I bought it. It's pretty thick, so it's not my favorite to work with, but I do like having matchy-matchy, and I love that this detail almost looks, it's kind of in between the Sahara and the white, so it was the perfect choice. So I just put a little on either side. I did the bow separate, and it's adhered down with a glue dot because it's pretty hard to manipulate otherwise. Okay, so let me show you these again. Step 1, step 2, and step 3. I think this will be a Mother's Day card for me. I hope you enjoyed it and you're inspired to try your own and make your own cards. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great day. Bye.